So what are the benefits of good nutrition and supplementation? Okay, so like, and some people are very skeptical about supplements. And they think this kind of the supplement industry is trying to replace good food with supplements. Now, the whole idea, the whole reason supplements are called supplements, and rightly called supplements, is they're made to supplement the diet. They shouldn't replace good food in the diet. They should only either replace bad food, in the case of adding in protein, taking out carbs or fat, or they should put something into the diet that can't or isn't otherwise being consumed. So usually, when dietitians will always, I'm a classically trained nutritionist, so people that are dietitians in hospitals took the same degree I did, and we're always told over and over again that people should eat a very balanced diet and they don't need supplements. Well, British nutrition surveys clearly show that most people are deficient in at least 1 and up to 7 or 8 essential nutrients. So that's people under their own devices will be deficient in at least 1 required nutrient. And if you look at women between the age of about 14 and 20, they're deficient in 7 different essential nutrients. So that's pretty bad. So we've probably got to stop. Obviously, we tell people the ideal goal is a very balanced diet, and it is. But the fact is, we know now that even if people are educated, they're not going to eat a perfectly varied, balanced diet. So we should include supplements in the diet, and they will improve the diet. Now, just to talk about protein, because that's the best-selling supplement is whey protein or just protein supplements. Okay, so powdered protein supplements. Now, people talk, supplements. I don't know about protein supplements, and I'll talk about this in a little more detail later. But when you talk about whey protein, people think, it's this evil supplement. It's actually just food. It is no less food than butter. Okay, so when you make butter, all you do is you take the carbs and the protein out of milk, and you're left with butter. It's the fat. When you make whey protein, all you do is you take out the carbs, you take out the fat, you take out the liquid, you take out the casein, which is the other protein in milk, and you're left with whey protein. So whey protein is just a food. It's just a processed food. And when you say processed, they try to process it in the most delicate way possible so it retains the nutritional qualities. So that's just of how people get this idea that supplements are these evil kind of things you add to the diet and only bodybuilders use them and they have side effects, but it's just, whey protein is just a food, and it's a very healthy food. So vitamins and minerals, we'll talk about. Vitamin D. If people aren't getting enough sunlight, the only way to get enough vitamin D is supplementation. You can't, unless you want to drink a half a gallon of oil a day or eat a pound of butter a day, you still wouldn't get enough vitamin D to make up for the fact you're not getting enough sun. Now in England, you can satisfy your need for sun in the summer if you get out enough, and most people don't these days. In the winter, even if you get out enough, unless you get out a lot, and we happen to have a pretty sunny winter, you're going to start getting vitamin D deficient by the time fall comes around, by the time spring comes around, all right? So keep that in mind. That's one supplement you need. Now calcium, most people, especially young women who need it the most, especially because that's when they're building up their bone mass for life, don't get enough calcium. And that's a major problem for osteoporosis later in life. And that's a very common disease. B12, if you've got a client that's a vegan, that doesn't eat meat or dairy, they are going to be deficient in B12. Simple fact, they are, unless they take a supplement, because it just isn't in any non-animal food. It just isn't there. Magnesium, one of the most commonly deficient minerals. Iron in women, so many women are anemic. If you ever have a client that's female that is getting a lot of tiredness and fatigue, even going upstairs in their house, and otherwise they seem fit, there's probably a 50% chance at least that they have some problem with iron deficiency. And zinc's another big one. And zinc, especially in guys, can affect testosterone and even reproductive health. So those are some major ones that are always on the radar. Omega-3, if someone doesn't eat enough fish, unless they're eating a lot of canola oil or flax oil, and those are supplements, you could argue, even though they're foods. But people usually supplement the diet with it. They don't use it as a typical food. Then they probably need to take a fish oil pill. They should take a quality fish oil supplement. Creatine, obviously, unless you're eating quite a bit of meat or fish, you're not getting an optimum amount of creatine to saturate the muscle's ability to hold creatine. So the top 5 supplements, I've already obviously alluded to some of these already: protein, creatine, pre-workouts, multivitamins, and good fats. So these are the 5 things that probably, I mean, you can get away with just having protein from food, of course you can, and have very little difference in results. Obviously protein supplements have the advantage they're much lower in fat and carbohydrates, and they're much more portable, and they last longer than typical meats and things. But otherwise, you can get all your protein from food, that's no problem, but most people don't get enough unless they know what they're doing. Creatine, again, we already said you can't get enough. Pre-workouts, there's several different kinds. There's several ingredients that are proven to improve performance while you're exercising. So if you get a pre-workout that's well formulated, it will definitely improve your performance. Multivitamin, again, as we said, British Nutrition Survey says just about everyone, just about every group, the majority of people have at least one deficiency in one micronutrient, so either a vitamin or a mineral. So that's a good idea. And again, the good fats, because left to their own devices, unless people really do their homework, they're not going to get a good profile of fat intake that's optimal for health and body composition.